So we are about 4 minutes after our hard start. If you guys are amenable, I'm more than willing to get us into the start of our season 7 finale.
Sounds good to me.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, one last offer of it. Are there any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or anything, or any angles that stand out that need a little sanding?
I did just remember that we kind of forgot that I think it was Whispers is trapped with Sylvia.
Yes, he is. Well, Sylvia's associates.
We still need to rescue him at some point.
It'd be nice. He's a newish member to the coterie and bad things happen. That's the way of things. Guest stars don't last long and red shirts don't survive the season.
They don't survive the episode.
Some of them do. There was a few that managed to survive the episode, but they never lasted much longer than that. That being the case, again, I want to thank you guys for your time. It really does mean a lot to me to get a chance to play. This is, for the record, Soup City Sins Season 7, the Season 7 finale of their magical power. When we last left the shelter, they had received a commendation and an awarding of domain officially recognized by the city at large as their roost to rule. In the doing of such, they received offers of assistance and, for lack of a better word, tons upon tons of ass kissing. The kisses came fast and furious, and some of them were considerably more wet than others. But the shelter in themselves have many decisions that lay ahead of them. For the entirety of Rogers Park is under their rule, under their laws and order that they hold to themselves. As one of the many most vaunted traditions is that tradition of domain, and being officially recognized makes them lords and ladies of the land at large. So we forward in time a few days to the shelter, Bill, Dizzy, and Lucio discussing the matter at hand, which is all of the many things aligned against them and the new added benefit and pain of having an official domain.
Well, I know what Bill wants to do.
We're still at the place, or have we left?
No, you've left and moved on with your evenings and your lives. This is a few days after that official recognition and commendations.
Okay. I think that means we're getting close to the time that we'd be meeting the Don, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think Lucio would like to try and heal the last bit of aggravated damage just to make sure that he is presentable for such a affair.
Okay, completely understandable. Go ahead and handle those rouse rolls. You need one for rousing and one for awakening, coming back to life this evening, and the other for the healing. And in alphabetical order, Bill, knowing that the shelter, this group that you've latched onto and have accepted you as part of their own, have been granted full rights and benefits as lords, ladies, and lieges of this particular domain, what, in fact, is foremost on his mind?
So what's the geographical borders of the domain? Is it only the haven, or a couple of blocks? One block?
Quick second here. I'll shoot you this, and it will have the link to the operational map for the Chronicle and all the other chronicles that are connected, where the Google map there outlines the entire area of the domain. But I'll also place it over in debriefing and help, the link to message to give you the geographical information.
And is all of that?
Yep, that little space outlined as Rogers Park is the entirety of the shelter's domain.
Wait, I think I'm not seeing the actual thing. It's a little map that says Steel Hearts, Roosted Souls, Google Maps.
Yep, give that a quick click, and it'll open up the Google Map, and I'll have the space outlined.
Sorry, I don't. I see the map, but I don't see the outline.
If you click that link, it'll take you right there.
Let me check. Mirror. No, this is it's mainly if there's kind of a place 1 block or 2 blocks away, which I can start setting up my shop for selling low grade blood. That's probably what Bill's gonna try to do.
Okay, bear me one quick second here. Let's do this and pray that Discord and Craig doesn't give out on me. I'll just one quick second because it's loading a little slowly. I still am suffering a bit of lag, and I do apologize about that. But yeah. And welcome aboard, Hess. Always a pleasure. All right. So
So Bill has like an old ambulance, and he probably just parks. If something needs to be delivered, maybe he takes the ambulance also. But mostly he has it there like a cover to have some units of blood that he can sell. That's the general idea.
Okay, so now in Bill's preparations for moving up the ladder and becoming a little bit more than just a street dealer, his operational costs, setting up a place and the like, where is his resources currently? Unspent, unmarked, just a total number of dots for his resources.
Let me check. Resources 1.
Okay. In all due balance of things, he's going to need significantly more resources to erect, or at least the aid of someone who does have significantly more resources to build something of any actual fact. Now, travailing across the block, moving and delivering, is something that's well within his wheelhouse and something he's clearly able to do. But between the bills he has outstanding, the setting up such a place will require more work.
I don't doubt it. It's a slow cooking plot.
All right, sounds like a plan. That being the case, let's. Not sure if the screen was actually showing. It doesn't seem to be showing the map, but all the same, that link will send the map. Sliding right along with Bill, with plans in motion, scoping out territory, scoping out potential buildings and places to lay low, as well as getting his hands on vehicles that could be gotten at for a song and a dance and a little bit less than that. Busy, the real weight of roots being grafted to their presence to their body, a land and a space that they are responsible for? How would that settle with them?
It's going to be kind of a weird concept for her, I think, having been on the road for so long. She's going to get to know the borders. She's going to try to find excuses to not be around Lucio either, since he's had some of her blood, and that's just kind of weird now. So,
what's little fluids swapping between friends?
Other than that, she's going to try to stick her head back into the Theus thing a little bit, get to know the borders, and not stick her head in a way that she's going to surface and draw attention, but on the internet at least. So,
okay. So that being the case, Bill, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus streetwise plus resources? Dizzy, would you be so kind as to roll your wits plus technology plus any contacts you have in regards to either black market criminal contacts or the like? And while those rolls are being made, with the weight and presence of that very real fact that you all now have a territory that is earmarked for you all, Lucio, where does that leave you?
Well, it leaves me at hunger 4 after attempting to heal all that. Trying to
arranging a meeting via either SALT or G wouldn't be that all that difficult in truth. The pressing hunger, however, is another matter entirely. We sometimes go ahead and roll your charisma plus investigation with a +1 to reach out to Renika via G and SALT. And then we'll get to the very pressing matter of having awoken with his beast laying very bare on his soul. Hestia?
Charisma investigation +1, you said?
Yes, sir. Hestia, rousing with your beast, dancing on your tongue, and the demand for sustenance in the manner entirely. And having been the few days since the congratulatory recognition from Prince Jackson, the realities of the management of Maine sits there before you with everything else you all have on your plate. What thoughts, what emotions are sitting there for Hestia? You all are a recognized citywide group of kindred.
First for her would be during that week after the whole shindig, finding out whose borders are against theirs, who surrounds them on the map. So that they know who their neighbors are, they know who they have to worry about, remembering those people from the night of the party who offered help, and sifting through whether she feels like they're genuine or whether they're just on some bullshit, and talking with the other members of the coterie about picking some people to ease their burden about watching the borders, like working with some of their neighbors to make sure that they're not constantly having to watch their back. So that's one of the things. And the other, just as kind of pressing for them, I guess, would be some of the stuff that they've kept having to put off until things got a little quiet. Seeing if anybody else wants to take a quick trip out to the graveyard and see if the lodestone is still there. Yeah, so that's important.
That's a lot. Of those, which is the most pressing?
Definitely shoring up the borders and making sure that they make good connections.
Okay. Well, we're so going to go ahead and roll intelligence and their occult or etiquette, whichever one is higher. And while that roll is happening, circling back around to Bill, you have scoped out a place not far from the shelter's actual haven that would work pretty well for what you have in mind. The only problem, and the most pressing problem, is that there is still a significant amount of funds that you will need. And the local protection neighborhood watch organization, the Latin Soul, don't seem to be the sort that would accept anything except for cold, hard cash. The area that you kind of marked off is on the other side of the train tracks behind to the west of the haven, just on the other side of Ravenswood, right there at Morse and Walcott, the block between Ravenswood and Walcott, directly west over Morse. It's a nice middle range neighborhood. It's not as downtrodden and poor as portions to the east of the shelter, but it's also not quite as well heeled as those neighborhoods in West Rogers Park where Itzhak operates out of. It's prime for you. It's close enough to the shelter haven to be easy to get to if you want to stash something or you needed some help, but far enough away that it could be an unconnected business if you really applied yourself and got a place to set up that was just for you. And while those thoughts are pressing and prevalent, Dizzy, what you find in a quick search in regards to Theist is a little unsettling. They've already purchased a hospital in the south suburbs, so they're no longer merely an unconnected entity. They're setting their tenterhooks into the world around them. As far as the borders for the Haven's domain, Rogers Park doesn't seem like that huge of a neighborhood, but it, in fact, is. There are stretches of beachfront space. There's the entirety of the Loyola University north side right there at Sheridan that you have under your coteries control. There are several acclaimed restaurants, and while it doesn't seem like it's all that much, but the Rogers Park community, its beachfront, is a much lauded area of the city. There's the lighthouse, there's the beach park, there's the Lighthouse Tavern, there's the Jarvis Beach, there's an entire actual Roman Catholic community that is centered in and around St. Rome's. There are huge swaths of the city population that enters into and exits through the neighborhood. It is connected by the Red Line as the driving artery of the city. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of a lot.
Since I had 2 dots of unestablished, non-ever used contacts on my sheet, I'm going to assume that we will define them now. She's going to kind of ingratiate herself into the Loyola campus scene and make friends with a bunch of kids. And
all right, like a very good plan. And as you're making those contacts and you and Vivi are becoming regular fixtures there at the campus and through the park, and all of it's connecting realities. Lucia. Monique is going to be at the Ethiopian restaurant that you've met him at before. So setting up that meeting has actually been fairly easy as far as things go. The burning drive of the beast, however, is not quite so easily satiated. And you, having been this hungry before, know that there is a very real chance something disastrous if you present yourself near and around those people who are a little squishier and a lot softer than you.
I think now that Lucy's actually gotten a chance to actually try and feed on someone, he'd be a little more comfortable with trying to go out and quote unquote hunt, so to speak. Trying to find someone that is out of the way, maybe.
Okay.
Or more specifically, someone who looks like they might deserve it, as something to like help him ease his conscience about it, rather than just some random person off the street.
Okay, let's do this. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus street to scavenge up some criminal ne'er-do-well up to no good, or seemingly plotting to be up to no good, as he manages to head south away from the shelter and stick to the streets, moving to and fro like the very hungry predator that he is. And with that number of successes, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that Lucio is able to sniff out and ferret out the criminal community, at least a portion of the criminal community in the Rogers Park area. Unfortunately for him, success doesn't always mean actually as happy of an instance, because he's never had to really feed by force. He's never had to balance the drive of the beast with balance to defend himself physically. And setting upon a criminal mid-crime creates the opportunity of something and someone fighting to get away, fighting to escape the long arm of the law, which they believe that he very well might be. And it doesn't end quite as clean as others might. There's a very real drive of adrenaline surge, anger, and frustration. And the fact that you caught them mid-violent home invasion doesn't help. You don't know whose home it is, but there are signs of children living in the home. There are toys, there are action figures on shelves. There are all the signs of a happy, healthy family that, while not here currently, could have very well easily been. And as those thoughts percolate, we'll switch gears and switch our vision a little bit. As Hesha, having mapped out those communities, those kindred close into and on the border of the very well, decently appointed territory, domain that you've all been assigned. In the course of Hesha's search, she finds that Richto has an area that they call home. There's also the all but blacked out portion of Rogers Park that is dedicated to the Roman Catholic Church in and around St. Jerome's. And though she tried to establish some distance between herself and Erzuli, she knows Mama Walde and Mama Walde's circle of associates like the back of her hand. And finding them floating in and around the southwestern portion of Rogers Park and realizing that they have either a house or several houses in that portion of the city, in that area, lets Hesha know that Rogers Park is also home to a large trans and ball community, as well as those who were in and around Erzuli's disco, also floating through the Rogers Park area.
That's actually not as bad of news as they were thinking. At least the people that they came across are people that she's dealt with, that she knows, and probably have somewhat of a favorable relationship with her. Mama Walding, they go way back, and even though she's been distancing herself from Erzuli for obvious reasons, and it's been on both sides, obviously, because of whatever happened in Dalton. They were supposed to be around each other for good reason. So with that, though, at least it gives her okay, I know I can talk to this person. And Erzuli of all would be really good at organizing things and finding people to help. So it's kind of okay, this is not the absolute best, but it's not bad, and I can work with this sort of feeling.
Okay. With those thoughts present and everyone tending to their individual, there is one small scene out. So, having done his research and having stalked the area Lucio finds himself a crew of 4 individuals who have staked out an apartment, a garden apartment. 2 are at the front door. 1 is at the side watching the windows of the home, and the other has gone round back to make their way in. What is his path of moving forward? What is on Lucio's mind as to how to tackle the situation?
Can you describe their positioning again?
There are 2 entering or seeming to enter the front door, keeping watch while 1 moves to the back of the home, the garden apartment, and just attempting to gain access via the back door. There's another in the gangway to the east of the home, watching the building, keeping watch and making sure that nothing's moving inside as they, to shock and awe, if anyone's inside.
He will start by going to find the 1 person heading to the back.
Okay. And what's Lucio's dexterity and stealth? Total dots.
Total dots is 1, 2, 3.
And manage our list. Moving quickly and focus on his target, it is clear that the gentleman has heard something, or that little corner of the lizard brain that keeps people on their toes, that makes them fearful and watchful, is super hyperactively aware than sneaking toward the back door. As he makes his way to the back door, he pauses and looks towards Lucio as he makes his way towards him. What is he?
So he's seen me?
He did. As you coalesce out of darkness, closing on him, he snaps towards where you're coming from. Some snapped twig, some broken blade of grass, maybe just some devilish angel on his shoulder, causing him to be hyper aware.
Okay, Lucio is going to rush at him and try and first cover his mouth so he doesn't scream.
All right, dexterity and brawl. Zora has a chance to call out for help. There's a muffled crash as you fall against the door jamb that he hasn't quite managed to open yet. You have his mouth covered and him pinned against the door jamb. What is Lucio attempting to do?
So where exactly are we right now? Are we like in an alleyway or behind someone's house?
You're behind a gray stone building with a garden apartment that they're seeking to break into. Having closed on the gentleman at the back of the building, you're inside the yard between the building and the garage that is clearly has many better days.
Okay, I don't see anyone immediately around me though, do I?
No.
I'm going to flip the guy on his back so he doesn't actually see my face, and then I'm gonna bite into his neck and feed.
All right, excellent. Would you be some kind of roll of resolve and composure? Now, for such a new hand at hunting down the living, Lucio is actually quite skilled. And before he realizes it, the moment is all too fleeting. He has managed to cut a swath through the 4 criminals, but not without the 2 at the front door having made it inside the apartment. And it is aggravating, annoying, and rage-inducing that they would do such a thing to a clear family home. But Lucio, having sated himself, having filled that portion of himself that demanded more and more, and kept from drinking that last drop, how pleased with himself would he be? 4 criminals down in a blink of an eye, he's setting on them like a monster from some child's worst dark fantasy, and making it away without them ever having seen a full, clear vision of his face.
A mix of pride and a bit of worry about whether he's going too far with this already so soon. Although when he thinks of that, he does think back to his discussion with Cretius, and he resolves to not think about it too much. But he is still a little prideful, especially after having been kicked to the curb by someone so recently. It's nice to be reassured that he is still capable of handling himself in a fight.
So a little puffed up is always a good thing. Now, there is still the meaning with Juanique. There's still pressing issues, and very much so the meaning with Don Castiglione at the observatory that lies ahead of you all. Though the Latin Saints are a local protection neighborhood watch organization, which is just a polite way of saying they are in fact an actually fully militarized gang, and they consider the area that you're scoping out as an area for them to collect funds and make a livelihood, meaning drugs, prostitution, whatever small vice they can get their hands on, and nothing that's going to attract too much attention. And as far as they're concerned, a man who openly carries a 6-shooter, too much noise for them. So in the course of your wild, wondrous meanderings, it is clear to them that you are not someone that they will send skittering quickly. So this evening, while scoping out the area, laying plans, and all in all, making sure that your area that you've marked off for yourself and mentally preparing to put to good use is in good working order, they corner you as best as they are able. You hear them before they get there. Their trunks rattling with more bass than should be allowed in 17 vehicles, echoing from just the one. Clearly not properly sealed to drive the bass just inside the car. The trunk rattles with that metal, just vibration that changes even the pleasure of any song they could play into more just noise. And as the car pulls to a stop along the curb, the 3 gentlemen in the back seat erupting from the Buick, the passenger reaching down in the seat, putting something at the rear of his waistband before he exits the vehicle. Hey, motherfucker. What the fuck are you doing, man?
Bill turns very casually, says, "Well, good evening to you too. Well, I'm just taking a stroll down this beautiful neighborhood."
Yeah, well, it's not your fucking beautiful neighborhood. Get the fuck out of here. Don't come back. Next time we're not gonna be so nice. Why don't you fucking leave?
Oh, I see. You're the neighborhood watch.
Fucking A right. Yeah, that's what we are. We're like the fucking khaki panthers, man.
No, I like a neighborhood that's well organized and everything in its proper place. That's good.
You know, this is the part where you get scared and leave. Fuck's wrong with you, man?
Oh, well, I thought that you had an eye for business.
Fuck you mean an eye for business?
Well, I can see you are all gentlemen of the very savvy kind, and perhaps you want to make a couple of bucks.
I ain't never done no gay shit, but yeah, I'll fuck you for some money. What do you need? You want to do it right here? There's a little dark corner over there.
Oh, dark corner. Yes, definitely.
There's a quizzical look that passes between them when you say that corner over there. Wait, are you fucking serious? You want to get fucked for money?
Well, do you?
Your inability to knuckle under their attempts and intimidation frustrates them as much as it causes them to question far more than they've ever had to question before in their lives. It is not very long at all before the attempts at intimidation to vocally scare you off and drive you off reach that final understanding that that's just not going to happen. So the gentleman who was formerly who was riding shotgun reaches into his rear waistband and withdraws a less than sparkling example of firearm. It is a Smith & Wesson Snub Nose 38. It's the sort of gun that was old the moment that it was invented. Though, because of it being a revolver, it is surprisingly liable. So the lack of care that they've placed into it would not prevent it from firing.
So I'm guessing Don works with manipulation or charisma.
Don works with intimidation, so you'd be using your, if you were using some external force, brandishing a weapon, a bat, a gun, you'd use manipulation. If you're just using your natural inability to be phased by much at all, present a most fearful presence, be your charisma, intimidation.
Okay, let's go with charisma. I'm gonna rouse charisma.
Okay.
All right. Bill looks at the guys and tells them, "Now, what do you think a pale guy like me is doing here with not a care in the world and just strolling here about? Do you think that you can pull that little pea shooter on me? And do you think that that's the best thing that you can do? Are you really this dense? Or can we talk? And by talk, I mean I talk and you listen."
Well, now, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma, intimidation, plus your presence, please?
Okay. All right.
Well, now, third, as you speak, you can all but hear what semblance of bravery, the fool's bravery they formerly had, crumble up and blow away in the wind. Dogs at least have the outward manifestation of tucking tail or pinning their ears back, presenting their throats. Humans not so much, though the physical signs of surrender are there. The gun wavers before falling to his hips as his hand falls, and he looks between you and his friends, and no one's moving to attack you, and he has lost the very will to even be in your presence and begins taking a step back. There's some internal effort to keep from just turning tail and running, but they manage to hold their ground because no one wants to look more cowardly than they actually are. Somehow, underneath it all, they still understand that their strength in numbers, even if that strength is doing absolutely nothing more than keeping them from running back to the car as quickly as possible. The fuck you want to talk about, man? What are you talking about? You said money. You're not really doing that sex thing, are you?
Well, not yet. Now, who's the man that I have to talk to avoid this intermediary shit? I want to talk to whomever controls you, keeps you on a leash before you get beaten.
Fuck you, man. We're not gonna tell you you gotta meet up with Poppy G. Who do you think we are? Some snitches?
No, I know for a fact that you are some stand-up guys. Now, if you be so kind, tell this Paggy that Bill wants to talk to him, man to man. A friendly talk, yeah? Nothing too rowdy.
You're gonna be sorry about asking Poppy G to come talk to you, man. He's gonna talk to you and blast you and your whole family, man. That's what's gonna happen. And you can tell, even though they're talking tough and putting that to the side, the truth of it all is they were using that as an opportunity to slide further away from you and closer to the car. Once they've reached just about the accurate distance where it won't look as much as what it is, them quickly hopping into the car and demanding that the driver move away as quickly as possible. That's exactly what does take place. They move to the car with all due haste, getting in like, "You're gonna regret this, man. Poppy's gonna carry you." And the car speeds off west across Morris. The engagement that you had hoped for with this neighborhood watch wasn't quite this moment, but you know for a fact the message will be delivered. You know that there will be follow-up communication. And speaking of follow-up communication, Exploring the Loyola campus presents you with several different opportunities. Namely, that between the 8 buildings they actually have access to officially with their name on it, plus the 2 that don't have their name on it, the near at hand dorm studios and actual dorm houses, you know that roughly 85% of all that space is actually used at full capacity. There's still 15% of space on the Loyola campus that is completely and totally unmonitored and unused. There are rooms in the main building that haven't been opened in months, weeks, sometimes even years. There's space beneath the student hall that has not seen active living done in it since it's being built. There are dorm rooms and studio apartments registered to Loyola that have not had any students present in them. So much so that you know for a fact the philosophy department occasionally uses the 4th floor studio apartment as a party house.
Well, it sounds like there's some space for me to put up my feet.
It is definitively the prime example of why public dollars, unmonitored, should not go to higher education, because they have more space than they need and they are still working towards accumulating more. Most of their campus, in terms of student body, actually live in the Rogers Park area, but enough of them stay in the outlying areas, West Rogers Park, Evanston. Some of them actually live on the far south side, that no one actually bothers to check student ID. So you traipsed and strolled through the halls, meeting several of the professors. That's how you found out about the philosophy department's parties, which usually devolve into all sorts of natural, hallucinogenic substances being imbibed along with someone's best, freshest grown, freshest sugar lightning and lemon liqueur and some less effect for at least a
All right, well, ingratiate myself to as many students as I can, maybe start cultivating some herd and whatnot.
In the process of making yourself more to home on the campus, you make the acquaintance of the head custodial engineer, a young lady of only her mid-50s. Janice Schott, Schott. She has the key and access to every facet of every building and keeps a watch and a lookout for her girls, as she considers most of the female or feminine professors and upper body students. Her staff knows which apartments that will never need cleaning. She knows which apartments need cleaning before anybody's parents or faculty find out, before the TA needs to go check and make sure that it's occupied. Through making friends with Janice, you are able to get down the ebb and flow of spot checks, inspections. You even meet a few of the actual campus security. They say campus police, but you know that for a fact that most of their police powers are actually not valid. And they're able to go from building to building, you know, the times of the sweeps, and you very much know that they are a closed community in the open one of Rogers Park. Their students wave at each other and know each other, meet at the McDonald's underneath the Loyola train stop, and it is literally like going back to college. And with that thought sitting there, I'm sorry, folks, but excuse me for a few moments. Let's take a quick 10-minute here, and we'll be back here at 36 after. Testing, testing.
Hello.
Why, hi there.
Hello.
Present.
Excellent. Pass. All right. Well, that being the case, when last left, Dizzy was making themselves more properly at home on the Loyola campus, which is in the southeastern portion of the shelter's domain, making allies, friends, and associates, staff, and gaining access to more forgotten areas of the campus. In the doing, the dirty little secrets that are often overlooked comes to light. While Janice, Shot, and the team of custodial engineers and the Loyola campus police do their abject best to stay aware and stay on top of things, there's a certain line that is usually not crossed, and that's the line of authority. Perceived authority goes a very long way to ensuring that communication is typically only one way. It's typically avenging the done instead of interceding before they happen. In the course of living and attempting to do so on the campus, Disney finds that there is a ring of mathletes that uses their understanding of STEM to have their way with as many people as they choose. This choice of actions are those wrong-headed and borderline completely evil individuals that have never had power of any sort. And so when they gain that power, they use it in the worst way imaginable. People who find themselves in parties are and suffering from lack of authority, lack of attention, are preyed on. They are hunted. And there's a collection of pictures and films and various other sundry materials circulating, last of which was a party just under a month ago that came to attention. And using her experience, Dizzy is able to see what has been taking place. The leader of the mathletes is a person by the name of Reggie. It's short for Regina, and she has led these mathlete STEM academics down this dark path. Having been overlooked, having been not considered, she uses them to execute her revenge against those she feels responsible, which is the bulk of society at large. Having tracked them to their bad cave, as it were, in poli-sci building, 3rd floor, overlooking the rocks on the coastline, Lake Michigan, Dizzy finds herself in the room with them, having just interrupted a relatively private study meeting. With her undead senses, Dizzy was able to hear and listen in as plans were for the next party. Strangely enough, a luncheon where the 36 undergraduates, unsupervised, as the department chair has been misinformed as to the correct time, misinformed as to where to be. So they've already have plans in place to properly spike the punch, to dose glasses, to ensure that the ice maker has been properly fixed. And what is it that Dizzy's doing with this information? Standing in the room with the people for what would be considered a terrorist action against the very institution to which they be holding all due reverence.
She'll probably smile and play along, but she's gonna bring an end to this situation. She's just not sure how yet.
I've seen you around. What are you doing here? Regina says through barely concealed anger at things not going exactly to plan, because no one was supposed to be here but them.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Somebody asked me to be here.
Right. Who asked you to be here? I need to know so that I can talk to them.
I don't know, some chick.
You clearly are in the wrong place. This is not the art department. We don't need any nude models. You can go along now.
You're funny.
You have no idea how funny I could be. You want to leave before I call the faculty administrator?
All right, fine, I'm leaving. Just Jesus Christ, calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down. You just go.
Sigh.
So exiting the meeting of ne'er-do-wells, does he make her way back to the shelter?
Probably, yeah. I mean, she checks in periodically, but...
Okay. It's a 15-minute walk at the outside, giving Dizzy time to contemplate and make plans for later, and what she will or will not communicate. And while that's happening, Hestia, knowing that... Are you back yet?
Sorry guys, second COVID shot has me little dazed.
Okay, no worries, we understand. Tonight's the night, basically. That's literally what it boils down to. Tonight's the night. You all need to the observatory to have your meeting, but Don Castiglione. Knowing that you're not sure how many members of the House of Mama Walde, but you know that there are a slew of outsiderish kindred who are denizens and frequenters of the disco on the southwestern portion of your domain, and Erichto clearly has some influence on the people in the southeastern portion just north of the Loyola campus under her sway, and the big swatch of diehard Roman Catholics near and in and around St. Jerome's are all pressing-ish matters. Are there any steps, plans, or pains that Hestia's taking?
I know it sounds weird, but I'm gonna stop at is there anywhere like to get flowers?
Yes.
I'm going to buy a bouquet of mixed like wildflowers for both Mama Walden and Urzuli. And I don't know would they be both in the same place tonight, or am I just stopping off at their separate houses and kind of working my way around?
Well, Mama Walde being the right hand or co-right hand of the disco for Urzuli would be the primary person.
Okay. And then I'm also gonna make sure before I leave my greenhouse, I'm gonna take some stuff for Ericto and put it in a little bag, like some clippings that might help them with some of their spell work or blood sorcery. Couple spiders, just in case, in a vial, and then so I'm bringing gifts wherever I'm going tonight, and trying to make sure these meetings happen as quickly as possible so we can get back to the Haven and discuss what we need to discuss about the meeting with the Don before we go.
Okay.
So starting with Mama Walde.
Well, Mama Walde, as per the usual, what one would expect, is immaculately dressed in a large drapish sort of muumuu, as they are rehearsing a show, a walk. Finding the actual building they use it's borderline blasphemous, because you know that the building in and of itself was a former church, but having been deconsecrated, it is now simply a building, though the architecture is unmistakably a former church. And as she steps foot onto the ground, it takes Hestia a few more moments than a second to get over the tremors of potential fear. The last time Hestia was actually at a church caused her to freeze almost catatonically. Pray that it may happen again. Luckily for her, with the grounds being deconsecrated and it no longer being a church, she is not struck nearly deaf, dumb, and blind. Though it is very hard to keep from looking over her shoulder, expecting an angel or specter of death to decide to come down and personally escort her off the premises. Mama Wondy for what it's worth. Saunters over, arms wide for a bear hug. Why, ain't you a sight for... Last time I saw you, we were running from that big hairy motherfucker down underneath the Queen of Spades.
Glad to not be running right now. Just saying. And Hesse, of course, gives her a hug and presents them with the flowers. I'm just out and about meeting my neighbors. I'm sure you heard about the whole domain thing, and I
heard about Domain, the beer, and the white wine. I didn't hear about your domain. Do tell.
Oh, the prince gave my coterie domain in the Rogers Park area and all the way to, and I outline the domain borders for them.
You save a few no good ass elders from they just deserts, and look at you, just getting all the gifts. Ain't this about it, bitch? Wait till Arzuli hear this shit.
That's why I'm here. I don't want this to be like I feel like I'm better than anybody, because obviously that's not what I'm about. I just want to make sure that we're all cool and okay, and that maybe you guys could keep an eye and help me make this area safe, because I know how good you guys are at organization, and people know you and listen to you. So I just want to have a nice, peaceful transition. Not much of anything is going to change if we can manage it. We just want to make sure that, the borders are safe.
Girl, are you trying to say that you want me to be your border patrol to watch out for your lower ends?
That's a little weird phrasing, but I mean, you don't have to. It's just a request of maybe if you would be up to it.
Well, I am more a lover than a fighter, but if need be, I will make sure that a motherfucker get their shit split. I will not back down. I will not run. But I'm glad that you're going to be the new landlord. Can we do something about these goddamn potholes out front?
Hose? There's hose? Where?
The potholes. All that cracked up. No good shit right there. And girl, there are holes everywhere. People will fuck themselves into hell if you let them.
Potholes, I don't know if we can do anything about that. That's still under the city's purview, but we could probably try to steer somebody this way and see if they can do something with it.
Well, damn, if you ain't gonna help with the infrastructure, what is we gonna be getting out of this? Hell. Now, I ain't meaning to kick up no dust. I'm just saying, girl, it should come with some bribe, some ability. Maybe we can get some of these police to stop patrolling so often.
That we might be able to do.
We're working on that. We should be getting something out of this, not just, here's your new fancy hat. Make sure you wear it.
No. That's why I said I didn't want that to be how things are. Again, I appreciate you letting me know what your concerns are, and I will definitely see if I can make that happen.
Well, that's a damn good thing. I am very, very thankful that you not like most of the motherfuckers. Originally, I was part of 2 houses down there in Hyde Park. We got run off something terrible. We found out that no good ass Missy professor was up to no good. How he got a taste for chocolate and the darkest hands?
What?
Just lewd. Just oh my goodness. I couldn't pay to have him as a sugar daddy. I'm sure that it's sweet, the old men, they get done real fast, but it's just it's just the idea that that beard would tickle something awful. Imagine him trying to toss your
Oh no. Please, I don't want to think about that. I'm good not having that mental image in my head. Thank you very much.
Come on now. Y'all know you done thought about it. That big old bushy flavor saver sitting there all over his face.
No, stop it. I have to go. Is Arzuli with you or is she somewhere else?
Oh no. Azuli, she down at the I don't know exactly where she might be. I ain't gonna even lie. That was supposed to be a little show down at Red No, but you know Adge, big bad Jamaican man that he is, don't necessarily like having me around. I guess something about being the smallest man around just don't sit right with him.
There's that. I love you all, but there's sometimes such like headbutting and snipping with each other. Is that like just how y'all talk and get along? I don't know.
It is. You know, it's all in love. And if you can't hear the truth from people that you care for, then what the hell is you doing with people anyway?
Facts. That is very true. Alright, well, I'll try to find Arzuli so I can give them the information myself so that they don't come slap me later because I didn't tell them. You know how she get.
I do, but I swear I would not go down to Red Dome tonight. I hear that they reggaetoning it up. And if I don't know about you, but I can move my hips, but I can't move like that. And them boys are thirsty.
I bet you get them a run for their money.
Oh no, I do all the running. I happened to be there on the last dance hall and reggaeton. I felt as though I was having a medical procedure moving through the crowd. There's so many hands on my goodies. It is just...
Oh no, I love you so much. I do. Alright, let me go. And they give them one more hug and take their leave.
Remember, potholes and dicks, girl. Get on that.
Okay. Potholes. Oh no. So, despite the fact of, Mama Walding saying probably shouldn't go down the Red No, I'm still going to. Just because, again, like I said, I wouldn't want Arzuli to find out through the grapevine. I'm her friend, so I need to be the one to tell her.
Oh, understandable. As you make your way down to Red No, you know what you know and don't know what you don't know, but one thing that you definitely do know is that young lady that just left with the tallish, androgynous woman and the tall, bearded, pale gentleman looked extraordinarily familiar, as if you've seen her or dreamed of her or had a premonition of her.
Wait, I'm gonna stop and see if I can place where I've seen them.
Excellent. Would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your resolve and awareness? Do a quick dive through Hestra's memory, trying to force the memory to the tip of the tongue to bring it into crystalline focus. Where have I seen that person before? As you're standing in the doorway, the doorman ushering you in, it's dancing on the tip of your mind. You've seen that person before. Maybe not from that angle, maybe not as well dressed as that, maybe not as put together as that. And it is the first time that a thought has caused a growl of annoyance to rocket out of you as if forced by some propulsive energy. Sanithi, the last time you saw that person up and mobile, they were gently possessed by Forcipulis. The resulting moment was being forced to stake Simone, you and Alexander struggling against the very real danger that Simone being possessed by Forcipulis, and then she was being wheeled away by the paramedics. It was that night that Donnell was damn near killed when, and that night comes rocketing back into vivid memory as they disappear into the night.
It's gonna take a lot of effort not to chase. It's not normally something I would do, but just seeing them and having that visceral memory, it's a like physical need to, follow. But instead, I'm going to text Lucio. I'll both write it and say it. Text Lucio. Just saw Sanithia down near Redno. They're leaving. They're still in town. I'm confused.
As you're texting and all but vibrating, there is a soft tap on your right shoulder. Looking towards the cause of it, who would dare? You realize that Bennett is standing just inside 3 feet from you. You okay? You seem a little bit out of sorts, girl.
It's weird. I guess you could say I saw a ghost.
Well, happy spirits keep ghosts away. Come on in. Dude, you came on a good night. There's a reggaeton DJ. There's just a couple of DJs. Come on in. You might enjoy it. There's no service tonight. I know last time you were here, you guys went in on the service with Mama Walden and Zuli. But it should still be a good time. Erzuli and Ads are back in Erzuli's booth.
Yeah, then I come in and head towards Erzuli's booth with my flowers. Still processing what just happened.
Well, look at what the cat drugged in, Erzuli says, rising from... You're sure that it's Ads, even though you've seen his real face, and the average everyman Caribbean heritage doesn't quite sit right with the fact that he kind of has a Westies accent, and you know that he looks very much like a walking purple beach with bat ears, and you also know that the last time you all spoke, your coterie was hired to make sure that Brett looked poor, which never reached fruition. And the small glower from him doesn't sit well.
I don't like being looked at like that. So I'm going to stop and put my hand on my head and get him to look back. Is there a problem?
You tell me what the problem gonna be. What you mean? What you say?
Do you know?
Looking back and forth between you two.
What you asked me for, and I was told by somebody else to not. So if you angry, be angry at them.
Yeah, who they is?
I'm here for that.
Man, what you come for? Who they is? Who told you not to do what I asked you?
I slide to Erzuli.
Well, man, you said this one. And just like that, the fire's ignited. His fiery temper, her fiery temper. There's lots of motherfuckers. There's a lot of goddamn you. There's a lot of you had no business back and forth. It takes about 15 minutes, but in that 15 minutes, you got about 2 hours worth of story material and 3 hours worth of fight. And as they draw to a close, they're once more hugging each other, holding each other's hands in soft kisses.
This whole, I done went and got a drink from the bar and then came back. We okay now?
No, we're not okay.
Whatever.
And you know
anyway,
the fact you and you know for the fact that you are, it's just his inability to not be.
That's why I said, okay, whatever, Erzuli. I came to see you because I didn't want you to hear it from somebody else. Recently, we were called to see Mr. Jackson himself and given domain.
Well, isn't that something? Look at you.
But the reason that that's important is because of where that domain sits.
He gave you Logan Park. Are you in this area? Are you?
Rogers Park.
Oh, okay. Well, oh, wait a minute. You were up there with Walde. She has a house up there.
Yeah, but it also travels back through, and then I again break down the border line.
Well, congratulations, all right, older girl. Are you gonna stay here for a while? I can get a party together in no time flat. We can celebrate you.
It's okay, hon. Next time, I promise I'll be back and I'll hang out for the night. But I have a meeting to get to fairly soon. But I wanted to bring you flowers and ask you to be like, my unofficial, official neighborhood watch.
I will talk to Mama Walde, and we'll put our heads together. She keeps a lot of her people up there, so I'm sure that you will have a word on the street, as long as you don't tell nobody about that.
Yeah, they want me to fix potholes, so I have to get on that. Potholes and dicks, she said. Sorry. It's been a long night. But yeah, thank you so much. You're amazing. And I blow kisses, and I give them their flowers and a big ol' hug. And then I give my friend the side eye and roll my eyes and switch my hips on the way out.
And just like that, there's another vociferous conversation between the two. And as you slink away, heading back toward the shelter, return our gaze to Lucio, who was settled into the booth at the Ethiopian restaurant. That same chill and lack of actual activity in the spirit realm is there, and you realize that calm that Wadnika comes here for is prevalent just as hot and heavy as it was previously. That absence of spiritual interference, as if someone has laid either a circle of protection or ward around the place. As you settle in, he looks up from the fufu on the table and the red and the several other Ethiopian dishes that are all over the table, including the fried bread that is not called fried bread, but you've seen it and watched it be consumed and know that's exactly what it is. It is a mushed bread that is typically cooked on a stone oven or in the light of day, but it's one of those very lightly leavened bread that is flat and used as utensil. I never got a chance to thank you for your help, Lucio.
Well, the thanks is merely in becoming allies, is it not?
Yeah, well, just because I don't have to, I should. And so, officially, thank you for your help. Thank you for the close of things. The only thing that's missing would be the African Simone's child, with him being dead and all. And it only leaves her as to carry the burden.
It's funny you mentioned that, because that's exactly what I came here for.
Well, that makes me doubly surprised and doubly thankful. Not many kindred would keep their word in this matter. Where is she?
Well, before I tell you that, I'd like to make another proposal for you. See, my information is a bit time sensitive, but so is the request that I'm going to make, so would you hear me out?
Of course, we're one hound to the next, though you got a little time on me. So I guess I should be looking up to you as the senior hound. What do you got?
Tonight, there's a very important meeting. 2 meetings, actually, one of which I am going to be required to attend. The other one, unfortunately, conflicts with this. And it just so happens that this meeting is between someone I knew in life by the name of Novak, who works at Novak Investigations, and he lowers his voice at this point, and a possible member of the Sabbat associated with Laura Blakeney. Since my presence will be required at a different meeting, I'd like to have someone present to either observe this meeting and possibly detain the associate for questioning. In exchange, I'll give you the most recent known location of Simone's child.
So, rock and a hard place.
Unfortunately, yes.
So you want me to go keep an eye on Tenchu Sabat, who is the equivalent of a primogen from our protectorate at Dalton?
I don't think it's going to be her specifically that's there. My understanding is that it was with an associate named Philip, or something along those lines. But if she is there, well, all the better.
Yeah, okay, I'll keep an eye, and I'll do my best to ensure the capture of who this potential Sabat might be. And while I'm doing that, you're gonna, before I go and find this meeting, you know where it's gonna be at, or do I gotta put my ear to the ground and find it?
Actually, I know exactly where it's going to be. Out of character, where was it again?
Buckingham.
I remember it.
Grant Park, Buckingham Fountain.
Okay. In character, I say it's at at the fountain in Grant Park.
What? That's stupid. It's too open. There's too many places for people to run to. Too many places to be watched from. I get it. Because it is so open, no one will pay attention to. Is it a drop?
Actually, yes. It's one of the drops that Novak uses.
Oh, fucking hell. And this associate of yours, this Novak, it's important that they stay alive?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. You know, you got a way of giving good news with a shitty stick.
Well, hopefully I can sweeten the deal with some fresh off-the-press information.
So where is this kid? Where is this child of your former associate that nearly killed a very important person to me?
Her name is Synethia, and she was last spotted near red number 5 about 5 minutes ago.
Fuck, that's all the way down on Milwaukee. Shit. And he stands up, nearly turning the table over. Hey, babe, thank you for the meal. I will see you next time. He tosses down a group of bills. So, what time is the meeting at the fountain?
I believe it's at midnight.
Ah, fucking hell. All right, you, tip her more. I'll see you next time, dear. And then he takes off. Shit, not enough time to plan. He's literally, to you, unaffected by the touch of his obfuscate. Looks like the demonic version of the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. The only thing missing is him looking at his pocket watch, screaming, I'm late, I'm late.
I don't know what he's already doing. But as Lucio is preparing to leave, he will decide to pay for the tab and the tip.
Well, now, she just came up very nicely tonight. As you hand over the money to the young lady behind the counter and take a glimpse into the kitchen, there is... You don't have any heightened senses present, and you haven't used it before while you're here. But what are Lucio's total dots in wits and awareness?
Wits is 4, awareness is 3, so that's 7. I have a specialty in concealed objects. Without
Applying himself to pointedly, just a casual observation for him, there is a decidedly either superhumanly or supernatural speed at work as he realizes that the staff of the place is literally just 2 people. The young lady at the register and the counter, and the cook who looks to be in his mid-50s, maybe early 60s. The way that he moves in the kitchen while not excessively graceful as you've seen many Toreador, is decidedly nearly as fast or slightly faster than the way that McTavish moves, or the way that you've seen Simone head into a battle situation, or the way that you've seen Alex disappear from view and suddenly appear either beside you or behind you, clearly nearly across a room. That speed is on display there. But based on the sweat furrowing his brow, he appears to be completely human.
Huh. Neat. As I'm leaving, I say to the person I'm paying, does your chef, where did he learn his skills from? Do you happen to know?
Oh, Billy is from Addis Ababa. He brought his family recipes. That's who food you were eating over there.
It was quite good. Yeah, I might stop by again sometime later.
You should. We are open almost 24 hours. We take 4 hours a day off.
Oh, really? Wow.
Thing is, we cook fresh and almost cook to order. It requires a lot of preparation, even for Billy.
Even so, at some point you guys deserve a rest.
Oh, no rest for the wicked. We will work too. But it is a pleasure to see you again. Thank you so much, Mr. Darcy.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful evening.
We will work on it.
And he leaves.
Leaving, heading back to the shelter. Due to the timing of things, everyone arrives mostly at the very close approximation of the same time. Taking it that you all are meeting in either the library or where would you all alight to check in with each other in preparation for the meeting with Don Wojcik?
The library is definitely the war room, so to speak. It has tables, it has books, it has space for everybody to sit, so library.
All right, so arriving back at the shelter, arriving back in your particular haven, meeting up in the library, what is the first order of business being as you all have had a few days to explore the limits and reaches of your domain and set things in motion, knowing that tonight, in fact, is the night when you meet one of the big bads of your former lives to this point.
When we go in, we need to appear strong.
Is this a diplomatic mission or a snatch and grab or a hit and run? What's the deal?
This is definitely diplomatic, but we cannot appear weak.
Let me check. Bill tries to make a face. No, I don't think that's gonna work. On the other hand, Dizzy here, she can easily be mean if she wants to.
I mean, like, couldn't we just not go? Because fuck them, they're beneath us.
I mean, I feel like that would just cause more problems for us.
Here's the thing. There is was a bounty on Lucio's head, and the only thing that paused that bounty on Lucio's head was this person. And they are the person that put the bounty on Lucio's head. So if we do not meet with them tonight and flex a little bit of muscle and show them that we are not easily cowed by them, and that it would be better to either leave us the fuck alone or work with us, they will put that bounty back on Lucio's head and everybody else's and try to take the shelter from us.
So wait, who is this guy in the tower?
He's Don Castiglione. He's the officially, he's supposed to be locked behind bars about 2 states over. Unofficially, he's a member of the Hecata and the head of the Castiglione and Tori crime family.
So they're like excused from the traditions then? They can just walk over here and kill you without repercussion?
Well, they're hiring hitmen, basically, who are mostly human, and so that's why they failed so far.
I mean, it doesn't matter whether you dominate a dude to hit somebody with a car. You're not allowed to kill other kindred.
This is very true. But the thing is, they kind of operate outside of the Tower's law. My understanding is, from what I've read, is that the Hecata or whatever clan preceded them as the clan of death weren't technically permitted into the tower, or at least weren't part of the original agreement, whatever that was.
I mean, granted, I don't know this Jackson guy or what's going on here, but generally not being in the tower doesn't mean that you just go fuck their rules in their city. They come after you anyway.
You're absolutely...
Sorry. Well, that's all well and good. Don Castiglione, due his criminal enterprises, has money to throw at lawyers and cops and whoever else they need to that aren't technically governed by the tower. So if you give
but
a
he's
human
not creative enough to do that. He's putting a hit out. He's not creative enough to go, I will attack them the vampire way. I'm the godfather, my dad's wedding and all that bullshit.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's why he wouldn't be punished, because he did it through human methods.
Human methods that wouldn't be officially traced back to him.
No.
I mean, there are at least 6 people that know about it.
Out of professional curiosity, what was the bounty?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Hey, I'm just curious. You know you're my man. I'm not thinking anything.
The bounty is currently 0 because it's frozen. And that is all I'm going to tell you.
Oh, come on, don't be like that.
Castillo turns and looks at Bill. If anything happens to Lucio, I'm coming for you first.
No. You're completely misunderstand me. You know, when in the Wild West, when you saw your wanted poster and it said $500, and you go like, $500? It should be $1,000 or something like that. Just curious.
Out of character, what was the total bounty? Do I know?
$50,000.
About 50 grand.
What? No, 50 grand? You think we can make it like 100, 150?
Yeah,
sure.
motherfucker, that day trading.
Sure, I could easily make it 150. Let me just kill him while he's there, and then they'll all come after me.
Now we are
going to show his strength, right?
Good point. But let's be serious for a moment. The reason we're doing this is mainly because even if he can't technically kill me officially, he can make life difficult for me. And very importantly, he knows about some important people in my previous life that I prefer to keep safe.
Alright. Let's go make our presence known to this Castiglione fellow.
So you guys have your plan of action put together and literally show up, look to get to the bottom line and find some way to move forward without being on the receiving end of the very short stick?
Well, basically, I'm just going to point out, we need to know what we are willing to lose, what we need to gain, and how far we're willing to let them push us before we walk away from the table. Those sort of things before we go in there, because I do have some things, but I've been working on this for a while, even before Simone died, and the only thing I could do was trace them back to stuff that they were already arrested for. What we would need to be able to do is hold the possible threat of human law enforcement interactions, recapturing him and putting him back in jail. That might get him to calm down some towards us. But that's only kind of like a last-ditch nuclear bomb sort of thing. Hopefully he's willing to just... Sorry, you leave us alone, we leave you alone. This is why that's beneficial.
I mean, whatever. I just don't see a reason to kowtow someone who's like, look here, see, you're going to sleep with the fishes, see? And that's this whole thing. I mean, that's his leverage. Fuck that guy.
While I agree, and it's mildly hilarious that you just said that, this man sent us a video of him killing his wife with his bare hands. And he also probably killed his son.
I mean, any fucking DNA can kill a human with their bare hand.
I think the point was, well, actually, I think that was something that Arsenio found, but I think the point is that he's just crazy enough to do it. To let everything just fucking burn if he doesn't get his way.
All right, that just seems like more of a reason to bring the tower into this. If he's that much of a threat to the masquerade, he needs to be dealt with, and it's not just us.
And you're absolutely right. But for the present, we at least need to patch the situation before we have a permanent fix.
All right, well, I'm just saying, I got some shit on my mind, too, outside of here, which is my problem, but I am not promising that I'm going to be all sweet and smiley and bubbly.
Did you mean something specific?
I mean, I always mean something specific, but it's not a pressing issue.
All right, we will deal with that, I guess, after this, then.
Tentative agreements and understandings made. You guys take the drive to the observatory, and parking in the nearest publicly accessible lot means that you all get a chance to look to your east down the parkway and see the observatory sitting there, its domed shape against the lake horizon line, and the lights from towers of Drake Hotel and the various other instances up north of you, and the lights from downtown glittering against the lake surface, causing it to seem as if it's floating in the field of stars. As you make your way down the parkway towards the observatory, several things become clearly and obviously present. Namely, he did not come alone. There are 4 men south of you along the rock, looking south towards the loop. There are 3 men on the north side of the parkway, clearly not dressed to have been taking view of the skyline. These men are clearly exterior security. And standing there on the steps to the observatory themselves is Hugo, whom you've all met at various states. Lucio, having dealt with the very real threat of Hugo leading the charge to collect the bounty on his head on several instances. In fact, Hugo being the reason why Lucio arrived at the Empyrean party far later than he would have planned. Hugo, that wall of muscle, which should not be as physically virile as he had with all the injuries he's accumulated and all the battles he survived. And it's clear that you all know why, as lucky as he has been. As you all move into the actual central hall where the Don is resting on the podium, absently sliding and flicking through his phone. Lucio, Hestia, would you be so kind to roll wit and... Actually, no. Sorry. Would you be so kind as to roll composure and insight as you all look into the front row of the observatory and see who's sitting there?
Composure and one. What was the other one?
Sorry.
Composure and what was the other one?
Oh, composure and insight. Oh wait, Dizzy was there as well. Dizzy, would you roll composure and insight as well?
I'm there too.
Yes, you are, but you weren't there when it happened. Clyde was there.
Okay. Oh.
Oh no!
Wait, did you spend willpower? Oh, you poor thing.
All right. So as you all open the door and move into the court, you forward into the place. Not only did the Don not come alone, he actually brought a pair of witnesses of sorts. As you all open the door and see him standing against the podium in the front row to your right, as the doors swing open, you see the Don's wife, whom you watched on video being disemboweled. You watched the slow and vicious attack that he used to end her existence, to end her life as she was. And with her sitting there in a slim fit two-piece pantsuit, dark glasses on the edge of her nose, looking towards you all with a sneer of contempt, nearly causes you to gasp aloud. Not that you all need to breathe those autonomic responses, but the shock of watching someone you watch die in the cruelest manner possible is a shock in and of itself. But her sitting next to her son is another matter entirely. Dizzy, you recognize the joint for what he was. He was the person that Hestia politely tortured by stabbing a knife through flicking a knife through his testicle sac and nearly bleeding out on a table before things were handled. And seeing him triggers a most intense, dispassionate, pained cry from Hestia as you realize that this very much is not what you came here for. There is your first moment of cruelty that started a descent of you from who you were to who you are now. Sitting there as the victim of this man's abuse, both woman and child, and the reason that Lucio's life had hung in the balance, because this all started with his rivalry with his half-brother. And are you going to roll with your beast demanding blood, demanding satisfaction, demanding you not suffer the ignoble abuses that you are sure are going to be headed in your direction?
I tried a willpower roll. It was another bestial failure. I don't know what else I can do.
What I mean is, are you going to maintain control during this moment, or are you going to give over to the full extent of beast is demand, which is the satiation of blood? It is vindication and death. It is how fucking dare they?
I am going to do my damnedest to get a leash on the beast.
Okay. Well, the simplest, most direct way for Hestia would be to spend a willpower to buy an action to ask or call for help from her associates. While you're contemplating this, Dizzy, the stillness that falls over Hestia is scary in and of itself. She's always talking. There's always a smack of lip or some audible yet not visceral response. Hestia is always, her mind is always moving, and that movement usually results in action, verbal of some sort. But this stillness is that scary, gone to unlife moment where there is no semblance, just a freakish living statue. Bill, you notice this about Hestia as well, and the fact that she's gone stock still is a pressing matter. Lucio, having spent so much time with Hestia, that small snarl and immediately cut off nothing, not the best place. So, in order of alphabetical, Bill, what is it that you're doing? Seeing these two people there, because you recognize the family here. And that
I look back at Lucio and raise an eyebrow, like saying, "What's up? What now?"
Okay, Dizzy.
Dizzy will lean over to Hestia and whisper, "But officer, would I throw this lit match in the oven if my friend Bugsy was hiding in there?"
Humor opens away. And Lucio.
He is just going to look over to Hestia to see if she's okay. And since he doesn't think he can really do much about it, he's just going to turn his gaze back to Don and look to take a seat.
Hestia, are you going to spend the willpower and ask for help or assistance towards regaining control? Or are you going to roll with it? They deserve every bit of pain you can give them, starting with rending and tearing and biting a plug through their chest.
What do I just roll unspent willpower or?
No, just say you spend willpower. And
Yeah, I'm gonna spend willpower.
Okay, go ahead, mark that damage your willpower down. And what is Hestia's action? Sure. Attempting to do as everyone has. And Dizzy leans over and tries to spur her on with a little bit of humor to bring her back to herself.
As Dizzy leans over, Hestia very kind of slowly, like one of those spooky dolls, turns her head, and the fact that her eyes have gone all the way black, like the pupils have consumed her whole iris, is very visible, and the lip is just kind of curled slightly, and she whispers, "I need to get out of here or I'm going to kill them all."
All right, go check the perimeter or something. You forgot something in the car. Not a big deal.
And with that, she's going to very stiffly turn on her heel, like almost like military precision, turn on her heel and walk back towards the way they came, just to get out of line of sight and pull herself back together. But if anybody tries to stop her or grabs onto her, that's not part of the coterie, they're probably going to get attacked.
Yeah. Whirling around, and as Lucio steps forward to grab a seat in the first row, and Dizzy and Bill, what is it that you all are doing? As Lucio moves forward and Hestia moves back.
I just kind of whisper to Lucio, 150,000.
I say nothing in response.
Settling into the seat a little stiffly as Hestia stiffly walks out and Dizzy and Bill take up positions of relatively security oriented, not quite sitting exactly next to Lucio, but not way. It is clear that the moment has. You all stand, sit, and move to your own time and realize that a lot of what lay ahead for the coterie may be settled here and in this moment. And as the doors close on the room where I'm sitting and the front door swings open as Hestia steps out into the night air, we draw ourselves to a close for season 7 Soup City Sins. I want to thank you all for the lovely session and getting things wrapped up and done. I look forward to what season 8 will bring for us all. Thanks so much, folks. I'll see you again.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, folks.